Welcome, everybody, to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, episode number 168. And coming up on this one, the Leafs win their season opener against the Habs 6-5 in a shootout. Matthews scores his 300th career goal and 301 and 302. What a night for Tony 300. Brodie continues to struggle. The Leafs defense, it did not look good. Could be a major problem this year. All this and more coming up on episode 168, one away from the big one on the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast.
Holy smokes, what a start to the season for Austin Matthews, man. And Sheldon Keefe, the set of balls on this guy to pull the goalie with 5 minutes left to go, and it paid off. Absolutely huge balls on Sheldon Keefe. Here we go. Let's hit the intro.
Kamara's coming out, sends it in a goal. They score! They score! Holy mackerel, they score! The Leafs have won it! They're going to the second round! Do you believe this? Holy mackerel!
Welcome, everybody, to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
Don't forget, you can follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The Tip In Podcast on Twitter. Email us at the tipinpodcast@gmail.com. And go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, to donate as little as a cup of coffee to help us out. Dale, Leafs win. Crazy game, but they pull it out. 2 points to start the year off. They don't ask how, they only ask how many.
That's true. Not looking good for the most part here tonight, though. I'd have to say that. Just not thoroughly impressed with the overall effort in game one. 34, hat trick, incredible. Almost scored his fourth goal in overtime.
Yes.
Right there, right? But anyway, hey, man, we'll take the overtime, or we'll take the 6-5 shootout win.
Shootout win.
And we'll move on, but a little too close for comfort, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but it's always like this in October. It's sloppy hockey for the first month, at least for the first couple weeks, and that's what you got tonight. You got a little bit of sloppy hockey. Normally, they lose these games at the start of the year, so it was a nice surprise to see them come back and pull out the win.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, can't disagree with that, man. I'll break it down like quickly here as we get going, but a couple quick things off the top here, Chad. Number one would be, I noticed this right away when they started doing like the pregame, like introducing the team and what have you.
I know what you're going to say.
What?
Quiet building?
No, well, like fucking, you could hear a pin drop. That's not what I was going to say, but yeah, I noticed the quietness of the building. What I was going to say was no TikTok on the home buckets in the I don't know. Back to the Leaf symbol. In the preseason, they had TikTok on the buckets. So how does that make any sense? All of a sudden, preseason TikTok sponsor on the buckets. Tonight, they're back to the Leaf logo on the buckets.
I didn't even notice. It's those little things I don't really pick up on.
I wonder, oh dude, like I don't miss a thing, right? But like I want, like Steven Tyler said, I don't want to miss a thing, okay?
No.
But Armageddon soundtrack, shout out. But like shout out to Liv Tyler. Shout out to Liv Tyler as well. Steven Tyler's daughter. Double shout out.
Oh, double shout out
to Steven Tyler and Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
Double
Liv Tyler and her handsome mom, Steven Tyler. Beautiful.
That might be a first time here, double shout out. But anyway, I don't want to miss a thing, man. Like they were wearing TikTok patches in the preseason. Tonight, home opener, no TikTok. Are they just going to wear it on the road, or is it like, what was it like? Did it end? I wonder if their contract ended like, October, like as soon as the new season starts, like we're not getting the TikTok money, or what's cooking there?
They still got the milk on the jerseys, right?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, you didn't pick up on that?
No, shit, man. I'm not as good with I should have picked up on that, but I didn't. But I think so. As far as I know, I believe they do. But anyway, here's what they don't have anymore. Hall & Oates hit the bricks Gone. Gonzo. Now, apparently they're switching the goal songs. It's not going to be just one. It's going to be like did you hear this? They're going to be switching it like depending on who they're playing or whatever. So there's not going to be like a recurring theme. It's like if they're playing these guys or I heard like it might be broke down like an original 6. If they're playing the original 6, they're playing expansion teams. If they're wearing the retro jerseys, it's probably going to be something fucking Bieber or whatever. It's going to be a mixed bag. What do you think of that?
Oh, I love it. I mean, what did we say like 3 weeks ago? Any change from Hall & Oates is a good change. So
was it a good change though? Any idea what that fucking track was tonight?
It's called The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah. Do you know who sings it? I had to Google it because I didn't know.
Is his name Kid Cudi?
No, I thought it was Kid Cudi because when I Googled it or when I YouTubed it, that's who came up. But I listened to it quickly. I'm like, that's not the song. As far as I know, it's an older track. Like, but it's
he sampled it.
Oh, okay. Like I think the original, it was like 11 years old or 12 years old. Project X, Pursuit of Happiness. That's where we're cooking here. Not a new track, but it sounds like, when you go to a Leafs game and they're doing the warm-ups, they kind of have like the techno shit going in warm-ups. I hate it. I wish they just played fucking rock and roll and whatever.
We're older though, right?
I know. So how much input do you think the boys on the team had in this one?
They might have been asked what they think about it.
Jersey Shore bullshit, techno cooking. Like,
yeah, you can. I get it.
I was hoping for an old school like rock riff, man. And
you weren't alone. You weren't alone. I saw on Twitter.
No, come on.
I saw on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called. Like it was like divided when the new goal song came out. There were people like, I love it. And then there's a whole bunch of people being like, why don't you play something we know? Why don't you play the hip? Why don't you play something Canadian? Why don't you play something rock? And I'm just like, look, it's not Hall & Oates. It's going to change. Let's just be happy we don't have to hear boom, 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 boom. It's gone. Yeah.
No, for sure. I'm glad that's not it though. I am like, I'm glad that they didn't switch to just that. Like switch it up. I'm cool. Switch it up.
It's like, different.
No problem.
And it worked out tonight because it got the boys pumped because they were a little sleepy, would you say, until that first goal song got played?
Oh my God. Like game one, right? Like, what are you going to do? Like,
well, you come out with a little fire. I would
you would think, but
your home opener.
You would think, but it's not crazy to expect sloppiness in game.
Oh, no. Right? No, like I said, October is the sloppiest month to be playing hockey.
They came back. So just before we go quickly, move on here a little bit. They came back from a 2-0 deficit to lead 3-2, then blow a lead in the first game of the season, then tie it again and win it in a shootout. Like, are we talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs here or what? Down early in a hole, come back, tie her up, take the lead, blow a lead, ultimately win it. It's like, man, like it's like, I don't want to say same old Leafs here because they won in the shootout, but there's a recipe cooking there.
Yeah.
There's a recipe.
I would.
Like, how about a 4-0 drought? How about a 4-0 drought of the Montreal Canadiens? Can't you open the fucking season with that for once, boys? You got to just make it barely sneak it down in the shootout.
I think you mean drubbing, not drought.
Well, 4-0, whatever.
I think you just have to look at it this way. You knew it was going to be sloppy. You knew that. Well, I didn't know, but judging by how Samsonov played in the preseason, I wasn't expecting him to be on his A game, which he wasn't. I mean, 5 goals on like 23 shots. Close. Not great.
Gonna get to him.
So it is what it is. They got the win. They move on. I mean, it seems like every year they cannot come out of the gates in October and
bat out of hell, baby.
Yeah, it's the same recurring theme, but they're not alone. This happens throughout the NHL. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. If we're in like December and they're still giving up 5 spots every night, okay, yeah, we need to pump the brakes and think about that. But right now on the first game, let's just be happy we got the W.
Okay, fair enough. So do you want me to do I got a few things I want to hit on here, but a quick breakdown, a quick synopsis of what just went.
Yeah, give us the quick breakdown.
What just shook down here? TJ Brodie. Holy God. Look, man, let me preface this by saying, like, nothing against TJ Brodie. If he's going through stuff personally and whatever, like, I understand that and I get it, but
he's not playing good.
Like, his personal life, aside from his career and what he's doing for the Leafs here, no, like, it's a separate thing. Like, we're not bashing Brodie because like we don't like him or whatever. He was a very solid defenseman. I don't know what's happened to this guy, but anyway, Brodie lost a battle in the corner in his own end. And then all of a sudden, they're in the other end. He's still on the ice. He fucking has a little, I don't even know what happened. He turns it over at the blue line. He ends up falling. Like, I don't know what happened on this play.
Yeah, he
turns
lost
it over at the blue
control and
line.
fell.
Lost control and fell. Led to the first goal of the game. Habs lead at 1-0 after one. Early in the second period, McCabe and Klingberg. Nice to see. Oh, sorry. Wait 1 quick second. Did you see during the introductions, Matt Murray was on the fucking bench with crutches?
Yeah.
I thought he would be laid out, man. I guess the hip surgery went well for Murdoch. I just wanted to I was like very surprised to see him there. Were you not?
Well, I mean, technically he's still part of the team, right?
I know, but like, that's a ballsy move, right? He's like never going to like, is he thinking like, I'll just sneak around here, won't skate for 6 months, but like,
he's still under contract. He's still a part of the team.
It's so crazy. Okay. Anyway, I was just surprised. I was so surprised to see him.
I was surprised to see him too. I was
also surprised to see the dirty mustache of Benoit back called up as him and Timmins were healthy scratches. But I can't believe over Kokkinen, they called Benoit back up. What a big mistake there. Anyway, we'll see what happens.
So Klingberg and McCabe.
Klingberg and McCabe, too soft, coming back in their own end. 2-0 Habs. Like, ridiculous. Habs get a goal called back. At the end of the first period, 2-0 Habs. Habs get a goal called back in the in the second period. Gregor rips one home. He gets a contract. Big surprise there. We kind of knew that was cooking. Yeah. Gregor rips one home to make it 2-1 midway through the second. 2-1 Habs over the Leafs midway through the second. On the power play, Matthews gets his first goal of the game. 300th career goal to tie it at 2. This guy just starting to cook here. So Matthews ties it at 2 midway through the second. Late in the second, Habs player gets called for a penalty with Cuthbert described as a reach around.
Yeah.
Well, now, a guaranteed, if you're trying for a reach around in a 2-2 game and you think that you're going to pull a reach around,
that's 2 minutes.
Guess where you're going to end up? In the box. Right in the box, bud, for you. Don't know who the player was.
I think if you're going for a reach around, you're hoping for the box. Right?
I think you're right. I think you're right.
So he probably planned that.
And that's exactly what happened. So reach around did not work out for the Habs player. It's still 2-2 at this time. But Brodie sends the Leafs back. So that was on Brodie. The reach around was on Brodie, by the way. Just out of Brodie recurring theme here. So that sends the Leafs back to the power play. They start humming it around. Nylander fires it home to make it 3-2. Toronto Maple Leafs after 2. Habs scored 2 early in the third to make it 4-3. All of a sudden, 2-0 deficit. They come back, score 3 unanswered. 3-2 Leafs going to the third. Boom, boom. Habs are right back in it early in the third. 4-3 lead for the Montreal Canadiens. Liljegren turns it over. Habs make it 5-3. Keefe shows gigantic, enormous balls by pulling the goalie with 5 minutes left to go. What did you think of this move when it first happened in a 5-3 game at that time? 5 minutes left to go. Keefe pulls the fucking goalie.
Yeah, I won't lie to you. I thought it was a little crazy. I thought the same thing. I'm like, all right, like there's 5 minutes left. We could get a goal and make it 5-4 and then pull the goalie.
Empty netter there kills you.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, you could have a 30-second shift down in their end, and then with 4 minutes left, they can make it 6-4 or 6-3 or whatever it was. But you know what made me feel a little comfortable is they showed over on the bench and Guy Boucher had the whiteboard in his hand. And I thought, well, you know what? If Keefe's got
one hand, what did he have in the other hand? A reach around?
But no, he had the whiteboard in one hand, he was reaching around Keefe in the other hand, and Keefe had the big balls going, and everything just worked out. Those two, man, they were like, did you see them chirping each other? Like, not chirping, but talking back and forth. They wrote those plays up, and Auston Matthews, 2 goals in 2.5 minutes to tie this baby.
Gets his second of the game when Keefe pulls the goalie to make it 5-4. Klingberg makes a great play at the blue line to keep the puck in, ends up on the dry stick of Auston Matthews to tie it at 5 late in the third. Hat trick for Auston Matthews in his first game of the season. That is extremely promising. There's some negatives here, and there's some super positives. The big positive is Matthews scores 3 in game 1, and he just looks like, compared to last year, something didn't look right. I don't know if it was the wrist or what was cooking. Like, something didn't look right. All of a sudden, he's out of the gates with 3 in game 1, and he just looks like, and he almost had the winner in overtime too. He
looked pumped. Like, he looked like he wanted to play so bad. You didn't really see that last year, I think, because he had a nagging injury, but he looks good.
Like, I don't want to use the word, like, I don't want to use the word easy, but it's like when it's going in for him, like, it kind of does look easy.
It looks easy for him. Yeah.
Yeah. For him. Anyway, so, but shout out to Klingberg too. Like, he made a great, if that puck gets past Klingberg, it's potentially going in the empty net whatever.
Keefe showed a lot of faith in Klingberg tonight. He played him a lot. Klingberg had 2 assists, I think. It was a good game for Klingberg.
Yeah, I thought so, especially like that play late in the third period to keep the puck in that ended up on Matthews' dry stick. That's how he likes it, folks. We know 100% exactly how he likes it. Anyway, Matthews' hat trick ties it at 5. They go to overtime, nothing cooking. Matthews almost won it in overtime.
He did.
Goes to a shootout. Marner wins it in a shootout, 6-5 Leafs. Not the best, not an easy win by any means, but they did come back and get the 2 points. What are your thoughts before we go to a couple things here at the end?
Yeah, just what I said at the beginning. It's the first game of the season. It's going to be sloppy. And the thing that I liked about it was they didn't quit. Now, what bugged me about it was it's your home opener. I thought the crowd could have been a little more lively. They were a little dead. But the team, until that goal was called back against Montreal, they just looked flat, man. Completely flat. Then that goal got called back, and they had a little spark and started taking Montreal, and Gregor did not have that on my bingo card that he would score this season opening goal. He got that goal and just sprung some life into the team. But it was going to be sloppy hockey, and I'm just glad they won. And you know what? It was a fun game to watch. All the goals for sure, back and forth and the shootout. It was a good game to watch.
Home opener, season opener, like it was, it was back and forth. But I never thought like the Habs were kicking around, and the Habs looked pretty good. But I never thought for a second like, oh, the Leafs are out of this game. I didn't, even when it was 5-3, I didn't think the Leafs were out of this game. But
they were dominating. Well, they were dominating most of the game after the goal got called back. Like, the shots on goal were ridiculous. The only thing, and you probably thought this too, like, Jake Allen was outplaying Samsonov by a long shot. And I just kept thinking, especially in overtime, I'm like, if Leafs had all those chances, I'm like, Montreal's going to get one shot and win this game.
I thought so too. Okay, I want to get into Samsonov and a couple quick things before we wrap it up. But what better way to celebrate the season opener with the shootout victory? At least they get the 2 points over the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, baby.
What are we talking about here, folks? Belfour Spirits back on the Tip In podcast. Chad, would you like to take a little listen for a couple minutes here to Eddie Belfour and see what he's got cooking up? I see him back there wearing the leather jacket. He's back. Do you want to hear what Belfour Spirits has got?
I would love to hear what Belfour Spirits has to say.
Hi, Ed Belfour here, Belfour Spirits.
Making some of the best whiskey in the world. We've been at this for 5 years, going on 6 years. And this is family operated. We go to work every day. We work on every aspect of this business. We take great pride, at watching people drink our whiskey and that big smile on their face. And they're like, wow, this is really, really good. That's what's so awesome is when you see those people loving your whiskey. And it's like when I played a game and at the end of the game, they're chanting my name. We just want to make really great tasting whiskey, and that's our goal. And, as it ages, it's only going to get better. We're very proud of that.
Buy a bottle and I'll sign it for you. Buy 2, I'll help you drink the second one. Have a great day.
Belfour Spirits. That's my boy. That's our boy.
Glad to have Eddie Belfour and his Belfour Spirits back on the show at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. Not sure if it's available in Ontario yet or Canada, but it is for sure in the US. But take a little look. Google Belfour Spirits. Find yourself some incredible we're talking about getting pissed drunk whiskey. And if nobody knows about getting pissed drunk more than our boy, Eddie Belfour.
That's what I'm talking about. Pick one up, celebrate the win. Or if you're at La Cage, have one while you're crying in your burger and fries there. Because this is that's what it's for, man. It can go either way. If you're happy, have a Belfour Spirit. If you're sad, have a Belfour Spirit.
100%. So we talked about Sheldon Keefe and the huge ball, his huge balls pulling the goal through 5 minutes ago. We talked about Matthews, hat trick out of the gates. Who's the boss, baby? Yeah.
Tony.
Last podcast, what'd I say? They're calling him Big Tony. Do you think they were just calling him randomly Big Tony in training camp for no reason? No. He must have looked like we weren't there day to day when they were practicing and whatever. So we didn't really see how he was looking day to day. They must have knew something was cooking practice wise to start calling him Big Tony again. Hey. Tony Danza right out of the gates. Who's the boss? It's not a save by the stash situation tonight, Chad.
It could have been.
Almost. I had it queued up and ready to go, but we'll get to that, I'm sure.
I mean, technically it kind of was.
Well,
because he scored the 2 goals to tie it, but you got to get that winner.
Got to get the winner to make the save.
Got to get the winner. That's right.
Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that in upcoming episodes. But I'll go to a couple things here and see what you got left.
Yeah, man.
Samsonov, 5 goals on 24 shots. Not the best. What are your thoughts here? What are your thoughts here?
Not the best.
I
mean, there's not much
that more, or just what? It's early. I don't know. It's early and whatever.
Yeah, it's early. Sometimes goalies have a tendency to. It takes them a little while. Freddie Anderson used to be like that. It used to be brutal in October, and then he was great in November. I'm hoping Samsonov starts to bounce back a little bit. We start to see it, but even in the preseason, he's kind of been like this. It's not that these goals are all his fault, but can you stop 2 of them, 1 of them? You know what I mean? Just make 1 save. I know the Leafs made a lot of mistakes tonight, like defensemen falling, giving up breakaways, 2-on-1s, bad areas for shots. Could you just stop 1, maybe 2? That's what I'm hoping for.
Okay, look.
He looked bad, man. He looked bad tonight.
No, I don't disagree with anything you just said there, but I will say this. He's not getting much help out there. Not from that decor. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. I'm not pinning it on him, but he could have stopped. No. He could have made a big save once or twice.
No. Okay. And he did make a couple key saves he did make a couple big saves when they needed it. But ultimately, I don't love the 5 goals on whatever it was, 24 shots. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to go hardcore back on Brodie here, but just the defense in general, man, I think they've got serious. It's only game 1, but it's Montreal here. We're not playing Vegas. We're not playing, New Jersey or Carolina. It's Montreal, and they significantly struggled. So yeah, I'm not gonna blow a nut here on night 1, but I am gonna call it what it is. That defense looks like a serious problem.
It does look like a serious problem. Now, I wouldn't put Montreal in the same category as they have a good forward group. Montreal has some good forwards, and they put a lot of pressure on the D shout out. And the Leafs just they just didn't have their A game. And he was Keefe or whoever was swapping the pairs, doing all different things, trying to get it going. It just never really got it going. But I wouldn't say Montreal's like, their forward group is hard to contain. They do have a lot. They're young, but they have a lot of good forwards. Their defense is worse than the Leafs. It's brutal.
Okay, sure.
So I'm just saying, like,
I'll give you.
It wasn't like super easy for the defense tonight.
No, but I'll get. Well, when's it ever going to be? Like,
no, it's never going to be easy. But you're just saying it's Montreal. It's not New Jersey. It's not Carolina. Like Montreal does have some good forwards, but the Leafs defense still looks.
What happens? What happens when they play a team that has really good forwards?
Well, it's going to be even worse.
Like it just. I'm sorry, man. Like we've been talking about the defense since.
Oh, it definitely needs upgrading.
Oh my
100% needs upgrading.
I'm sorry, Brodie, Giordano. Like it's just there's Liljegren tonight making mistakes. It just looks. So, I can't. Other than Klingberg making like a huge like to keep the puck in to lead to the tying goal at the end of the third period, and McCabe had a couple nice hits. Other than that, I would be like negative all over the place for that blue line. I'm sorry, like. It's just that's just what I saw, man. Like that's just how I see it.
Like, I know it's the personnel, but what do you think it is with these guys? Like in their own end and stuff, the running around, the not being able to get it out to get possession. Like, what is it?
They talk about systems, so like clearly there's a system in place that like the coaching staff wants them to play.
Yeah, I'm talking about the defense specifically because I know forwards did a great job.
No, but like I'm talking specifically like clearly there's a system in place the coaching staff wants the D to play, and like I just don't think they have the manpower to like implement it in a game. Like I don't think they have the right guys back there to do it. In a nutshell, like how else do you want to say it?
Yeah,
like, it's not the right mix of guys. Like. Soft. Like it's like losing battles, like not clearing the front of the net. It's a recurring theme. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I don't want to go crazy in a shootout win here, but
it might get better. It's game one. It might get better. Let them gel, let them get their feet under them. But it didn't look good in the preseason. It doesn't look good on paper, and it didn't look good in game one, but they still got the win 6-5. But you can't win every night.
Oh God!
Outscoring your opponent 6-5.
No, this was the Habs, man. Like,
they're
not a playoff team. Like what happens when you start playing Tampa and Boston and Ottawa and Buffalo? You can't have that type of defense performance and expect to win. It's just not. They need anyway. It's early. Not going to go nuts here, but and I hate to single out Brodie, but it's easy to because his play at this time because his play on the ice is just been like my God, talk about falling off a cliff. Like gone. Yeah, he used to be so smart, Chad, heads up all the way. Now he's like he doesn't know what he's doing in the corner in front of the net. He doesn't know like how to tie up the man. He's like
I know he's the most obvious, making the most glaring mistakes. But anyway, let's not dwell on it too much because they did get the win 6-5. Austin Matthews looked phenomenal tonight. Sure. Tyler Bertuzzi looked good. Ryan Reeves.
The hair looked great. I'll tell you that.
Ryan Reeves kind of fought Jack Eye.
Credit to that Jack Eye dude. Like to him.
He said like he wanted it. Like before
he instigated it. Like he was like, let's go, big boy. Let's have it.
I know. Reeves never really got his balance and kind of.
No, he didn't.
It never really happened. But I would have
so much for bringing in the toughest guy in the league. Now it looks like the Habs have the toughest guy in the league on their blue line.
I'm saying Reeves never got his balance. Like it wasn't a fair fight. He kind of jumped him, and then Reeves never. I mean, drop your gloves, square off, and then let's go.
Fair enough, but still, shout out to that Jack Eye kid. Like he is. I wish the Leafs had a guy like that on the back end. I wish the Leafs.
He's so confident.
The balls on this guy. The Ryan Reeves' first shift as a Leaf. This guy's like, yeah, let's go, bud. Like, let's do it.
And it wasn't anything like Reeves laid a hit. Wasn't anything dirty or anything like that. But he just fucking jumped him. He wanted that fight so bad. Too bad it didn't really happen. But
no. Next time. I got two quick things, and then anything you want to say, and then we'll bounce out of here. So, all right, man. I'll ask you this: what did you think of Nyes and Minton tonight?
Not as great as in the preseason, but that's expected, right? It was Minton's first game, probably nervous as shit.
Nyes almost wanted an overtime.
Nyes almost wanted an overtime. He also took a penalty in overtime.
Yep.
Nyes looked good, and I think, I don't know, I kind of like Nyes with JT. It kind of looks good.
Seems like there's kind of there, like they together.
There's a little bit of chemistry. Yeah, and they were a pair in overtime tonight. They look good. They were paired up a few times, a few shifts in the third period. Yeah, but Minton, you didn't really notice him tonight. He didn't. But game one, right?
Right, but not nearly as noticeable, right?
No. And we knew this was going to happen, but give him time. They're going to keep him for 9 games, so let him get his feet wet.
Tree Living did say that, I'm sure you caught this, whatever, that, like, you know, day to day with Minton here, if he ends up going back, so be it. And they're not afraid to go back to Nylander at center. They possibly would go to Domi at center as well. So we'll see what happens, but we'll see what happens. So I'll leave you on this one, Chad.
Yeah, baby.
TSN analyst Mike Johnson. Is it Johnson or Johnson? Is it Chris Johnston and Mike Johnson?
Yeah.
Which one's got the T in there? Chris Johnston, right?
Chris Johnston.
Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson.
Right. MJ.
Yep.
He said he was doing a little hit with Craig Button on TSN the other day.
Is it Button this was or Button?
I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway, we can get into this next podcast. All the TSN panel and stuff, we're like picking their Eastern Conference Final, Western Conference Final, and Stanley Cup champions. I'm not going to get into that right now. We will maybe next podcast or whatever. But here's what MJ said. MJ said, when asked about the Leafs defense, he said, I think they're adequate. They could potentially adequate. Keep that word in mind. Okay. Potentially win. Like, look at Pittsburgh. They won 2 cups back to back with their defense, which was kind of similar, like, to the Leafs defense right now. That was many years ago, 16, 17 back to back, 2016, 2017. It's been a lot tougher blue lines that have won since then. But MJ says adequate, I think. But do they want the D to be bigger, longer, and harder? Obviously. Adequate, the way it is. I don't know when adequate has ever cut it. No. Needs to be bigger, longer, and harder.
That's right.
To you on that, Chad.
Well, I'll tell you this. One time a girl told me that she didn't like bigger, longer, harder because it hurt. Well, we need to bring the pain. You know what I'm saying?
So sometimes adequate is enough.
Yeah, sometimes adequate is enough.
But usually, no.
Usually you want bigger, longer, harder because it hurts.
And I think, just to bow tie this episode, Shaddy, the Leafs defense, after what I saw in game 1, long way to go here, folks, but I think that Leafs D core needs to be bigger, longer, and harder big time.
Bigger, longer, harder. Okay, that's probably going to be the title of the podcast. No, I don't know. Anyway, for the Tip and Maple Leafs podcast, don't forget, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the Tip and Maple Leafs podcast, on Twitter at the Tip and Podcast. Email us tipandpodcast@gmail.com. We'll be back. What are they playing? They play Saturday or Monday?
Don't you have something?
Yeah, I'm
cooking this weekend, though. So.
I am gone away this weekend. I'll be
episode 169. Cue up the next episode, Chad, please.
It'll be episode 169, and it's looking like it's going to be after the Blackhawks game. Shout out. Because I'm gone away this weekend, and I think they play the Blackhawks on Monday. Connor Bedard doing the Eastern tour here. He's going Pittsburgh, Boston, Montreal, Toronto.
I have to say quickly, like, I can't wait until the Blackhawks game. Shout out on Monday.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. Did you see him in his NHL debut last night? No bucket in the warm-up.
I did see that.
Rookies aren't allowed to do that. Like, fine. $2,500 every time you do that. Times that by 82, I'm pretty sure it's $250,000. This guy's like, fuck it. I'm not wearing it. Like, This kid just went up significantly in my books, man. Are you doing the math to see if I did that right or not?
Yeah, you were close. You were close.
What is it?
205,000.
Oh, well, okay. $200,000.
That's insane.
Come on.
And he's only getting
just to not wear the helmet during warm-ups.
He's only getting 800,000. That's a quarter. Dude. That's a quarter of your salary. Just
that's
you don't want to wear a bucket.
Absolutely incredible. As a rookie coming in, he's like, Bettman, I don't fuck what. He's like, no, I'm not wearing a bucket. I don't give in warm-ups. I don't. That's such a veteran move. But as a young kid coming in, like first round draft pick, like first overall pick, you just don't see that. Most of them are like, my stock just went up huge for this guy. I can't wait for Monday night against the Blackhawks shoutout. I can't wait.
Did you see they're playing Boston tonight? Bedard scored his first NHL goal.
No,
I didn't. Like two or three shifts later, who starts spearing him and ribbing him into the boards and giving him a hard time? Brad Marchand.
Brad
Marchand. And I'm like, come on, you can't just let the kid enjoy the moment. Like, are you just jealous because he's getting all the spotlight?
Did Boston beat them? Or
I don't know what the final score was. It was 1-1 at that point, or maybe it was 2-1 for Chicago. Anyway, I don't know. But anyway,
like I just once again quickly, like, dude, the no bucket in the warm up move for a rookie,
amazing,
legendary. Connor Bedard, like being fined every time.
$100,000. He'll be fined if he does that every game. Also, if we're doing a little math, Austin Matthews is on pace for 246 goals this year. So let's see how that one works out.
Holy smokes.
I say he comes close. What do you think?
What a mustache. I can't wait. I don't know. Like, I'd say, well, he hasn't 50 for sure. Like this guy, if he stays healthy,
he's only 47 away.
Man, he looked real good tonight.
He did it. For the Tip and Maple Leafs podcast, I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
And we will.
Dude, you're not going to do the socials to close it here or what?
I already did them.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
And then you went talking about Bedard.
Sorry, everybody.
Dale, so he's so hung up on the socials, he gets the biggest hard on. Like if he's like, you got to say the socials, you have to say them. So I think
yeah, you did it, and then I started talking about Bedard. You're right. Sorry, my bad, everybody.
Yeah,
had a few pops on opening night. Don't worry about it, everybody. We'll be back.
The sauce.
We'll be what? Come on, man. Just getting cooking here. We'll be back Monday night after the Blackhawks game. Shout out because Chad's away on the weekend.
Shout out.
Next Monday, we'll be back for sure. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, guys. Go Leafs, go. I'll catch you guys later.
Catch you later.